superheroes. Like, you would have to go get registered if you're a superhero and you have superpowers. But then Captain America said, no, that's a invasion of rights. But then Iron Man and Spider-Man are saying, no, you have to follow the rules. You're not above the law, kind of thing. So, I don't know. It's interesting.
And it brings to mind Death Wish, because Charles Bronson was kind of like a vigilante in that. He was like, he didn't have superpowers, but he was a vigilante, and that's like, he was stopping criminals, and that's kind of what superheroes do. So he wasn't a superhero, but he's like a character that's a vigilante that could be a superhero if he had special powers, I guess. But special powers doesn't make a superhero, right?
No, sometimes there are abilities or knowledge or know-how how to use. Like, sometimes there's like people who are like bomb experts, and there's all these kind of funny things that ordinary people could be a hero in a way. But if you're like just forcing yourself onto like a scene, like kind of, out of the way, I can do this, you can't. I mean, I don't know. I've seen that in a situation, being on trains and people wanting to, I'm the one that should help you out, and I'm the one that's right. No, they just want to win friends and influence people, and they force themselves when situations are already being handled, and these snobby people, I gotta help. Why? I mean, come on. If the situation is controlled, don't get involved. Just watch. See what happens. I mean, if people are already, like trying to help people or passed out or some kind of violent altercation or something, I mean, don't make it even worse. Just witness it. And that's another thing, too, is there's a certain, like, characters, like the Watcher. He watches these what-ifs, and he sees these things that he observes. And I mean, it's better just to watch a situation than try and get involved. I mean, it's a way of being lazy, but only get involved if you're technically involved. So, yeah, cool beans.
And you didn't give any requests for songs, so I'll play another one of mine. But you like Tom Waits, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Here's Mockingbird.
Mockingbird high in the tree, looks like you got the best of me. Mockingbird singing the song, well, the mockingbird is mocking me now that you're gone. Mockingbird high in the roof, well, it's blowing notes on top of my roof. Well, the mockingbird singing the song, well, the mockingbird is mocking me now that you're gone. Well, a mockingbird high in the tree, looking up at you, you're looking down at me. And a mockingbird high in the roof, blowing notes on top of my roof. Mockingbird high in the tree, well, looking up at you, you're looking down at me. Well, mockingbird singing the song, well, the mockingbird is mocking me now that you're gone. Throwed some pebbles, tried to scare him away, just to look down at me, and this is what he said. looks like you got the best of me. Mockingbird singing the song of where the mockingbird is mocking me now that you're gone, gone.
Welcome back to the Getting This Toy. We're talking about Fanboys Secret Realms, and I guess I'm not a fanboy, am I?
No, I've tried to give you like comics. I've tried to get you into things, and you're going, no, I don't need that stuff.
Yeah,
but
it's just like for me, it's like men in tights. I don't understand it.
Well, I don't know. There's like heroes and anti-heroes, and there are people out there that don't dress in tights. I mean, there's a lot of different kind of heroes out there, and sometimes the real heroes don't even need a costume. I mean, even the way that you dress and the way you look, it kind of makes your own individual self, right? I don't know, like I was saying earlier, about the whole idea of going to conventions and seeing all these, like, model-type girls that are just, like, dressing up, don't do enough research on the actual character, just the costume, you know? Because that's what models do, right? Dressing up as cosplay and elaborate, like, superhero costumes and stuff.
What's cosplay mean?
Cosplay means, like, costumes, like dressing up as superheroes or your favorite character from a book or a movie or, comics. And that really, like, it's, like, basically Halloween for adults. So they go to these conventions and these other nerdy people, and the really, like, hot, good-looking girls are usually these model types that only do research on the costume and not the actual character, which has kind of always been amusing to me. But other than that, I mean, I don't know, it's fun. Because in a way, these things are coming true. Even just mimicking a fabricated fictional storyline or whatever, or book or comic, yeah.
So Secret Realms, I did like a flowchart, and there's like one end I have Atlantis, High Brazil, and those kind of secret realms, and then the other end I have like DC Marvel universe, the James Cameron universe, Scanning universe, and then the two I came up with are like the conspiracy theories, they're like Illuminati and Bilderberg Group and those kind of conspiracy
Well, they have
theories.
they have this retreat they go to. It's like where they worship this big ass owl, and they like do these kind of like Grease like kind of like plays.
Who does?
And they like Bilderberg kind of like Mason types going to this like place in the forest worshiping kind of like this giant owl.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's kind of weird, but I don't know. It's as long as they're not trying to rule the world.
But they are. That's the point. I mean, these like high like politician like super brokers. I mean, they pull the strings on globalization, on how to manage and work a planet in a sense. And sometimes, yeah, they're almost like the real superheroes to me, but they're not. They're more like super villains because they control what they control. They more think about what is the actual best benefit, even if it would be bad or even if it would be more like profitable. Like just, I don't know. I mean, and even with fictional movies like Transformers, bringing in the Bilderbergs. I mean, yeah, it's kind of seedy and strange, but life and movies pretty much mimic each other.
I think I'm a bit of a fanboy, but not the same type as you. Like, probably fanboy is not the word for it, but I like fiction stories. Yeah.
Well,
like I read books that are like they're like comics, but there's always a hero in the books, and you follow the hero through the story. And the stories that I like the most are like they have what's called an anti-hero, and it's just this guy who has like he doesn't do well basically. and it just goes through, and I read it and I can identify because I don't do well a lot of the times, and I identify with the anti-hero more so than like a hero like in tights flying to the moon or something. That
like
is,
more
is
of an
way
outsider.
out there. Yeah.
More like an outsider kind of looking in and somehow being able to pull the strings without anyone knowing.
Yeah.
Just by appearing to look in, but then again, being a complete loser and kind of an outsider and not having a lot of hookups or connections when it comes to people, but kind of doing their thing on their own and kind of,
In superheroes, like comics, would you agree with this, that like in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man or whatever, the guy is like, he's like the secret, like he's the guy with the glasses, right? And Peter Parker or whatever, and he's kind of like the anti-hero because he's like the loser, right? And then he puts on the suit and he becomes the hero.
Yeah, but that's more like secret identity, having something that's kind of more. Yeah.
But he doesn't do well like with his secret identity, does he?
No, because when you're normal and you're not dressed up and like impressing girls by your like super strength or your know-how or knowing how to like speak different languages just to impress a date. I mean, most of these kids are total dorks, and these kids only get attention through their other identity, and that happens all the time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like that's kind of the thing that we all kind of face, that if we're going to be something else, we kind of have to invest in it, and also to see why one way of acting is another way of acting. So
I'll tell you, my favorite story is like called Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol, and it's a story about this guy who like he basically wants to become a landowner, but he goes about it ways that are like deceitful and dishonest. But at the same time, he's this like lovable character, and he's doing this kind of dishonest thing. But at the same time, it's not completely dishonest. Like he's buying up these dead peasant lists. The souls are peasants, and he's buying them up. But it's a really interesting story. But what would be your favorite comic, like your story? Like as far as the story goes. Maybe I'll start there. If I want to get into comics, I'll start with what your favorite is.
Well, I mean, I would have to say Swamp Thing and Constantine. And Constantine actually was introduced by Swamp Thing. And yeah, they're kind of like, wow, Swamp Thing is basically a living kind of entity that protects like nature and all that stuff. And he's even technically a lantern. And it's just interesting because then with Constantine, he's always like, he knows how to do exorcisms, he knows how to he knows the seedy world of heaven and hell and how, just the way they deal with different types of characters. That's what draws people in and intrigues you. I mean, sometimes you get intrigued by something and you might not like it, but you get intrigued at it. I'm kind of interested in seeing how this goes. I mean, it's more like it's not fun to watch, but you're still interested in it, right? So you'd like to see where certain characters go and how they basically do what they do. I mean, I'm kind of one of those guys that, I'm more of like a Batman kind of Punisher, like the vigilante, not having actual powers, but the know-how and the way of explaining things. I mean, it's called having a potent imagination.
Yeah. Well, that about wraps up our show. And do you know what we're going to do next week? Do you have any ideas? Can you come up with anything on the spot? Maybe we could promote for next week.
Maybe we should have some kind of contest.
Contest?
Yeah, we'll think about it and then we'll get back to it. And then, I don't know. Like, whoever is actually listening to us, maybe they can recommend something to talk about.
Yeah, okay. If anyone out there is listening, my email's on